I think a lot of people use their shyness as an excuse not to go out and do street photography or take the pictures they actually want to take. I know it's uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable for everyone. No one is comfortable doing street photography, and that's part of it.
There's hundreds of examples of people being shy, being introvert, and taking some of the best photos in street photography that has ever been. For example, this guy, whose name I'm not gonna murder in this video, but he's one of the most iconic street photographers of our time. When you go through his photos, you can see he's a bystander and he's so far away from his subject. So if you're shy and you still want to take photos but you don't want to be up in people's faces, then study guys like this and start with baby steps. So before you go out and shoot, you should feel good, whether that's taking a shower, listen to your favorite music, putting some nice clothes on, whatever you need to do in order to make you feel good is probably what you should do.
In Mexico they say you don't like shot the mezcal, you kiss it, but I'm not sure we have time for that.
Muchas gracias.
That was a big shot.
Sometimes before I go out to shoot, I look at a couple of YouTube videos from other street photographers in order to get inspired. Your goal is to just get in a good headspace, and just before you go out, take 3 photos at home just to make sure you have battery in your camera and you have an SD card inserted. Also, if you feel like shit, just don't go out and shoot. It's not gonna be fun for you or for any people participating in the photos.
When we think street photography, we always think this guy doing these photos, right? Like someone who's up in people's faces. And I think a lot of people who think they're too shy to do street photography is thinking to themselves, in order to do street photography, you should produce photos like this, and that's not the case at all.
Taking a picture, I didn't know you owned the street. Not here, he's telling me.
There are like so many subgenres of street photography. Some people like fine art looking street photography. Some people just photograph buildings. Some people like minimalistic looking photos. Some people like just a color splash or geometrical, and there doesn't have to be a person in your photo in order for it to be street photography.
I don't think anyone naturally is comfortable doing street photography. I'm not. I remember when I was growing up, my brother is 2 years older than me. So when I was 6 and he was 8, he knew everything I knew plus more, which makes me probably stay a little bit in the back and be more an observer than a participant in most cases. But I also think that helps you, especially in terms of photography. If you're shy and you're an introvert, maybe you are a better observer than someone who's extrovert. Okay, let's talk about managing expectations. I'm probably the worst person to talk about this because I don't know how to manage my own. Whenever I go out and shoot, I do it usually once a week. I hate myself from start to finish. I'm like, Frederick, you're a bad photographer. You don't know what you're doing, you should just quit and you take shitty photos. That's usually how I feel. And I don't know, I think it's because I don't think that I take the photos that I want to take. I think my taste is higher than my skill level in terms of photography. But it is tough going around for 30 minutes taking photos and knowing you don't have a single photo that you actually like. Alright, let's talk about the fear of street photography. And it's a bit related to the confidence and being shy. I also deal with fear in street photography, but I deal with it in a different way, I think. I fear not taking a photo that I knew would be a good picture just because I'm scared to take it. Does that make any sense? Usually the fear of the rejection is a lot worse than the rejection.
In terms of like the danger of doing street photography, I've done street photography in Mexico City here for 1.5 years. Last year I think I did around 50,000 photos here in Mexico City on the streets. And I never had one altercation with anyone like physically. There was this one time there was a guy who stood in between 2 cars and he was lighting a joint. And I didn't ask him, but I just took my camera up to my eye, and when he saw that, he just immediately turned around and he told me, this is how you're gonna get shot. Okay, let's talk like actionable tips and tricks for you and how you can actually go out and start doing street photography. First thing is you need a camera. When you pick your camera, you might not want to pick a big DSLR camera. My first camera was a Ricoh GR2 and I'll put a link to the camera below. But it's an amazing camera, it's pretty cheap and it takes incredible photos. In the beginning, if you don't have a camera, you can also just use your phone. The first photo that got me into street photography was shot with my phone, and it's this picture here. I was on a boat with my mom in a place called Xochimilco, and I saw this elderly couple sitting across us in the same big boat. And I took this photo with my phone, and after that I was like, maybe I want to do photography. So in terms of focal length, I would recommend something like 50 or 80 because then you won't have to be that close to your subject. So in the beginning, you can get a bit easier photos without being up in people's faces. Something that might help you in the beginning is to go with a friend who also likes photography, or someone you can lure into going out with you. Because I think when you're two people around, you can kind of feed off each other. I'm not a big advocate for running around and like sneaking your way into taking pictures. I think it's kind of I don't know, I think it kind of kills the fun for you and for the person involved. But I have a tip: if you're using your phone, you should plug the headphones in. So if you open your photo app on your iPhone and plug in the headset, then when you click the volume up and down button, it's gonna take a picture. So you don't have to be like standing like this and obviously taking a picture. And also, if you wanted to, you could put your phone up to your ear if you have a good framing from there, and you can take a photo with the headset. When I started out doing street photography, I was also more shy and more careful about it. A lot of times I would find a frame that I liked, like a background, and then I would wait for my subject to walk in there. The cool thing about that is that it's pretty easy for you to operate your camera because you can prepare the shot before the shot happens. What you should do is find a wall or a background that you care about, and then you can put your camera to manual focus so you can set up the shot, the perfect focus, and then you can set your shutter speed to like 125th of a second or 250 to be snappy, and you will catch the moment. Another thing you can do if your camera can do that is to go to continuously shooting mode, which means that when the person walks into your frame, you can just hold down the shutter button and it will take, I don't know, 10 photos in 1 second. And then you're probably more likely to get the photo that you want. In the beginning, I shot a lot from the hip Vivian Maier style. I don't really love the technique of doing it, but I think it's a good way to start. And it can create some interesting photos. And if you want to do that, you should make sure that you have your camera set on like a focus distance, I don't know, of 1 or 2 meters or 1.5, so you know how far the subject has to be when you have to press the shutter button. And it would also be a good idea for you to don't shoot in like an aperture of 1.2, but to bump it up to something like 5 or 6 or 7, because then you increase your chances of having your subject in focus. If your camera have a flip screen, that can also help you when you shoot from the hip, because you can flip the screen out so you can actually see the frame of your photo even though you don't have the camera up to your eye. If you want to do street portraits, I will go a bit more in depth in that in another video, but I have a lot of videos where I'm doing street portraits on my channel that you can check out, and maybe that will help you. I have a cool photo of that guy actually. I need to print them and send them to him. There's no like magic way of doing this. Like whenever I go out, also today after I've been doing it every week for a year, I'm still intimidated and I still get like this fear of rejection or whatever that might happen. But what you just need to do is work on how you're gonna get comfortable doing that. It's about you stepping out of your comfort zone in a way, and then just keep doing that. If you haven't done street photography for a while and you haven't maybe never done it because you thought you were too shy, I hope at least you will give it a try. And if you have any questions, just comment below or send me a direct message on Instagram and I'll be happy to give you some feedback and help you out.